She suddenly remembered this was her chance. As soon as Isaac turned his back, Rhea secretly planned to attack him from behind. Just then, Isaac said, "I forgot to bring the scented oil," making Rhea flinch and avert her gaze, thinking, "If I do that, I'll be dead." Isaac then asked Rhea if it was okay to use the scented oil he usually used. That was exactly what Rhea wanted. She loved Isaac's scent. He wondered, "You like everything?" She replied, "It's true." But suddenly, Isaac said, "Take off your clothes." Hearing these words from Isaac, Rhea froze. She cautiously asked Isaac again, but he repeated, "If you want to bathe, you have to take off your clothes, right?" Isaac knew what Rhea was afraid of and reassured her, "I'll turn around. You don't have to worry." Her husband was being so considerate, but Rhea still felt like she was being seduced. She had no reason to refuse and could only comply. However, she suddenly remembered the scar on her back. Unfortunately, there was no other way. Rhea resigned herself to fate and told Isaac, "I'm done." Hearing this, Isaac turned around immediately. What caught Isaac's attention was Rhea's scarred back. He leaned in, staring at it. However, he knew he shouldn't say anything about it, and instead asked, "Wash your hair first, right?" Rhea was worried he wouldn't pull out all her hair. Isaac stroked Rhea's hair, startling her. He stopped, afraid of hurting her. Rhea quickly reassured him, "It's all right," and instructed Isaac to lather the shampoo before applying it to her hair. The Duke obediently took more shampoo, trying to create lather as Rhea had instructed. Isaac explained that he wasn't very skilled at these things, so he was a bit clumsy and apologized for it. As her husband cared for her, Rhea thought to herself that the soap bubbles he created felt like gentle touches on her heart. It was a strange feeling, both unfamiliar and ticklish. Ever since becoming Rhea, being bathed by servants had gradually become familiar, being cared for by skillful, meticulous hands. She'd almost come to think of herself as a doll. But Isaac's hands, though clumsy, felt incredibly warm. Rhea suddenly asked, "Aren't you tired?" Isaac replied, "It's all right," but he reminded her, "Don't call me you. Call me by my name, or like you did earlier." That was when Rhea had rushed to hug Isaac tightly and called him husband. The embarrassing memory resurfaced, making Rhea want to escape. Why did she have to remember that? Even with 100 times the courage, Rhea couldn't bring herself to call him husband again. She decided to test the waters. "Then, can I call you I?" Isaac immediately refused. Not to be outdone, Rhea reminded Isaac that he had never called her by her name either. Now it was Isaac's turn to feel awkward, and he quickly changed the subject. "Why is your hair so thin?" Not wanting to continue embarrassing each other, Rhea asked, "Were you talking to your colleagues earlier?" Isaac replied, "It was about conquering the frost dragon." Upon hearing this, Rhea craned her neck to glance at Isaac. He quickly added, "I was joking." Rhea got annoyed. "That's not funny, Isaac." He had to explain. Those colleagues seemed quite worried. Rhea was curious. How did they know? Isaac replied, "How would I know?" and told her to close her eyes before pouring a bucket of water over her head. He deemed her hair sufficiently clean and smooth. Finished with her hair, Isaac asked Rhea for her hand. Of course, it had to be thoroughly cleaned. Isaac, no longer clumsy, quickly washed Rhea's hand. Rhea's current feeling could be described with one word: embarrassed. But she didn't say anything, so Isaac continued bathing her. He told her, "If it hurts, just tell me. Sometimes I can't control my strength." Rhea stealthily glanced at her handsome husband. Noticing her staring, Isaac curiously asked, "What is it?" Rhea flustered. "It's nothing," Isaac remarked. "You're so bland," and then added, "I have to wash the uninjured part of your leg too." He returned to washing her leg. Rhea watched him intently and thought, "This person, why is he so focused? Or does he not see me as a woman?" She thought to herself, "If that's the case." Then Rhea suddenly spoke. "Isaac, can you come in here too? This time I want to wash you." Isaac was surprised by his wife's suggestive words. "Do you think I'm a stone?" Unaware of anything, Isaac bluntly asked, "Really? You want to wash me?" Rhea hurriedly explained, No, I really want to repair you." Suddenly, Isaac released Rhea's foot and said, "It's better if you do the rest yourself." Rhea didn't expect such a reaction from him. In that moment, she knew she couldn't let Isaac leave, unaware that she was naked. In a panic, Rhea hurriedly grabbed Isaac's arm and shouted, "Wait!" Isaac's face turned as red as a tomato. "What are you doing?" he asked, clearly flustered. Rhea clung to him, acting coy. "Don't go. I really just want to be with you." Isaac stammered, assuring her that he wouldn't leave, but told her to let go of his arm. Rhea knew he was lying. If she let go, he would run. Not paying attention to the slippery bath floor, she stumbled and lost her balance. Unfortunately, she fell into the bathtub and water splashed everywhere. Things went rolling. Rhea groaned slightly in pain, notably from the fall. In an attempt to catch her, Isaac also fell into the tub. Now Rhea was on top of him, and she thought, "I'm doomed." Worried that Isaac was hurt, she anxiously asked, "Are you all right?" With his beloved wife completely naked on top of him, Isaac could hardly be all right. He shyly turned his face away, gritting his teeth and muttering under his breath. Isaac immediately lifted Rhea up and gently carried her out of the bathtub. Rhea didn't understand why she was suddenly being carried like this. Before she could process it, Isaac placed her on the rug. He told her to wait a moment, then left. Blaming herself, Rhea burst into tears, feeling utterly useless. Why did I have to pull such a stupid stunt? Fear made her tremble. Even a little pain could be disastrous. Just then, Isaac's voice rang out, telling her to turn around. A towel was gently draped over Rhea, and Isaac approached, gently drying her hair. Rhea hesitantly asked, "Isaac, are you angry?" Isaac was confused. Why would I be angry? He didn't understand why Rhea would even ask that. She was truly baffled by his constant calmness, unable to grasp why Isaac was always so gentle and sincere with her. As Isaac dried her hair, Rhea, lost in thought, didn't notice when Isaac reached her legs and saw the scars. Feeling him touch them, Rhea flinched and pulled the towel tighter, covering herself. She looked at Isaac in a panic, suddenly realizing her overreaction. Embarrassed, she mumbled, "It's embarrassing. I lied. When I was little, I caused a bit of trouble. Now I can't do anything properly." Isaac had always treated her with sincerity, but she had kept giving him lies. She knew how things had been in Romania, the pain and scars that remained from that place. She didn't want Isaac to discover the truth, fearing the protective cocoon around her would finally peel away. She didn't know how to face him, unsure if she could handle his gaze, his compassion. She feared that no matter what she did, even preventing Elenia's poisoning wouldn't be enough. In that moment, she wondered if she had anyone who truly stood by her. Isaac spoke up, "I didn't expect the Pope to be so strict. It's funny, isn't it?" Rhea quickly lied. "No, it was my fault back then." She didn't notice her tears falling. Isaac asked gently, "Are you crying because you remembered that time?" Rhea wiped her tears quickly and denied it. "No, I'm not crying." Isaac, unable to stand watching his wife's sadness, took Rhea's hand. He gently kissed it, and as he did, he held her hand tightly. "Don't cry," he said earnestly. "Every time you cry, I don't know what to do. It's terrible. I feel like I'll go crazy because I can't do anything. How can I reassure you?" Isaac continued, "If I had realized sooner, you wouldn't have had to suffer. I'm sorry. I can't go back in time, but I will love you and not avoid you anymore. The chance for you to leave this place is now, but tell me what you want. I'll do anything for you. I can do anything for you," Isaac whispered, kissing her hand again. Her eyes were still teary, but she was stunned. Her cheeks flushed from the intensity of his words. After all that had happened, she knew there was no going back. Even so, Isaac still cared about her feelings. Wanting her to answer one more time, he asked, "Actually, I knew the choice was in my own hands. No one could help me decide, but this time with you, it will be the last time. The two stood facing each other, feeling the weight of their connection. Isaac tightened his grip around Rhea's waist and pulled her closer. "Answer carefully," he whispered. "Even if you regret it later, I won't let you go." Rhea, immersed in the moment from the beginning, could hardly believe what was happening. Could I really have chosen differently, she wondered. They were about to fall into the abyss together, but she didn't care. Drops of water trickled down Isaac's hair onto his face and back as he stared at her. His face flushed. She could feel his desperation, and with a final, determined thought, Rhea made her choice. She reached up and wrapped her arms around his neck. "I want to live with you for the rest of my life, in a place with my friends." Isaac smiled, relieved and filled with joy. His cheeks flushed with happiness. The towel fell to the floor, and Isaac moved closer to Rhea. Her eyes widened, her face blushing with embarrassment, as Isaac slowly placed a kiss on her lips. She didn't pull away, instead she welcomed it warmly. Isaac, growing more greedy, deepened the kiss, wanting to devour her lips. He lifted Rhea up and held her tightly in his warm embrace. A moment later, Isaac released Rhea, and they remained immersed in happiness, their eyes locked on each other. Isaac looked at her contentedly and muttered, "Thank goodness." Then he turned and carried her to the bedroom, slowly and gently. Isaac hugged her tightly and laid her down on the bed. Rhea, anxious, looked at him and softly called out, "Isaac." Isaac, standing before her, his face flushed, removed the towel wrapped around him. It fell with a thud at his feet, and then he moved closer, lifting Rhea's legs. He kissed the swollen wound on her leg. Rhea, with a resigned expression, whimpered, and Isaac knelt on the bed, pushing her gently down into an intimate position. He softly called her name. "Rhea." Isaac stared at her, as if urging her to speak. She looked at him, her eyes sparkling, and he gently stroked her face. Hearing this, Isaac's hand froze, his face turning as red as a ripe tomato. "Damn it," Isaac muttered, lowering his head onto her shoulder. He moved closer, whispering, "If you keep looking at me like that, I—" Rhea, still not understanding, maintained her innocent expression and sparkling eyes. "Like what?" she asked. Unable to contain himself, Isaac lowered his eyes and gently placed a kiss on her forehead. He trailed it down the bridge of her nose, nibbling lightly on the tip before finally reaching her lips. He had been longing for this kiss. Rhea shyly responded, her face flushing crimson. She tightened her hands around his neck, whispering in his ear, "Itchy, so itchy." Rhea's eyes widened as she screamed. Isaac quickly checked on her, concerned. "Does it hurt?" She tearfully replied, "Just a little. I'm scared." Isaac comforted her, pulling her into his arms. "It's okay, Rhea. I'm as clumsy as you are, not at all." The room grew warmer from the fire, and Isaac held her tightly, his heart aching for her. Rhea opened her eyes and glanced at him. She was stunned for a moment, seeing the intense tenderness in his gaze. Who's really caught in the trap? Rhea tightened her grip around his neck, realizing the answer. Who's truly doomed? After everything that night, Isaac placed a kiss on her eyes, gently soothing her. All his feelings were contained in that kiss. He spoke just loud enough for Rhea to hear. "I love you." These words are true. Rhea clearly felt it. What made me fall into this sea of emotions, she thought. Isaac lifted her hand and kissed it loudly, saying, "Whether this night of ours is blessed or cursed, I think I had the answer from the moment our eyes met." Rhea smiled radiantly and replied, "Me too. If I suddenly become the head of the mansion, won't everyone be uncomfortable?" Ellen's expression turned icy, her anger mirroring Isaac's past behavior. "Who would dare to be uncomfortable with the mistress of this mansion?" she retorted. Ruby flinched. "I was just worried," she said softly. If there are such people, they'll be expelled from this mansion immediately, Ellen reassured her. Ruby fiddled with the flower crown in her hands, silently thanking Ellen from the bottom of her heart. "Thank you for those words," she murmured, though still uncertain. "But if the maids do that, it will be different. If it were the beginning, their gaze toward me would be gentle." Ruby remembered the head nanny of the mansion. "But if I start participating in managing the mansion, she will definitely show hostility. Thank you, Ellen." Her hands continued to fiddle with the flower crown, trying to distract herself. "But since this is my first time managing the mansion, will it shock everyone?" Ruby hesitated, looking up at Ellen. Ellen replied calmly, "Don't worry, I'll help you step by step." After a brief pause, she continued, "As you know, from when I was little until now, the one who had accompanied me was the head nanny of this mansion." Ruby, intrigued, asked, "Do you mean your mother was similar to me?" Ellen nodded slightly, her eyes becoming pained. Their eating habits and the scars on their hands were very similar. That day my mother suddenly became agitated, obsessed with her appearance, and tried to live extravagantly. One day she let go of everything and just stayed in her room, crying constantly. Ruby glanced at Ellen, understanding without needing words. Ellen seemed to carry heavy memories but never expressed them outwardly. Ruby knew that if she fell into despair, depression, or disorder, it would exhaust those around her, including herself. The Duchess seemed to have a lot in common with Ruby's past life's older sister. After thinking for a while, Ruby asked, "Do you know why your mother was like that?" Ellen seemed unsure. "No, I'm not sure either. All I know is that after my mother passed away, the relationship between my father and brother wasn't the same anymore." Ellen confided, "When I was little, I witnessed my parents arguing several times. As a child, I didn't know why they fought so fiercely. After that, my brother became a holy knight. At that time, I wished my mother could become a devil just to see her one more time. That was my naive childhood thought. Even though they can't recognize each other, they must miss their mother very much." Ruby listened quietly, touched by the deep sadness in Ellen's words. Ellen quickly added, "This is just between us, okay? Just the two of us." Ruby, her heart full, nodded repeatedly. "Of course. Don't worry, madame." An attendant arrived, breaking the cheerful atmosphere. "There are guests here to see you." Ruby felt apprehensive. "Who's here to see me?" she asked. Ellen stood up, frowning. "Who is it, Andy?" Andy scratched his head and answered, "It's some people from Linus, Your Highness." Ruby frowned, puzzled. "Why are those people looking for me?" Seeing Ruby's expression, Ellen asked with concern, "Is something wrong?" Andy shook his head, but Ruby felt a jolt of unease. Could it be related to my secret? She decided to excuse herself. "I'll go ahead. See you later." Ellen wasn't at ease. "Are you sure you're okay going alone? Why don't we go together?" Ruby quickly refused. "No need. Ellen has an appointment too. They're all eyes as colleagues. It'll be fine." Ellen became even more concerned. "Then just invite them over here. It's a pleasure, madam." All three walked toward the greenhouse garden. Ruby looked around, and as they approached, IA commented, "This is truly a wonderful sight." Ruby, already sitting at the tea table, greeted them with a smile. "It's nice to see you all. Shall I make flower wreaths for everyone?" Ian immediately became excited. "What? What an honor!" He nudged Ivan hard, a reminder to stay on topic. Ivan frowned and glanced at the person behind him, clearly uneasy. "We came here with a favor to ask. We apologize for the intrusion," Ivan said. Ruby wondered what the favor could be, but greeted them with a smile. "Please feel free to say anything." All three settled at the table, waiting for Ivan the diplomat to speak. After hesitating, Ivan's delay irritated the others, and Ruby's patience was tested. The blue-haired knight angrily slammed the table. Ian retorted, "You idiot, why are you being so loud in front of Madam? You're making everyone uncomfortable. Enough, let me speak." Ruby sat beside him, tense. Ivan cleared his throat to regain his composure and continued, "Madam, Do you know about the frost wolves? Ruby thought for a moment, then rested her chin on her hand. I only know about them through illustrations. I see, Ivan replied. In that case, we'll be blunt. Can you talk to these wolves? Ruby's face went blank. Talk to wolves? She echoed, her mind racing. The image of a fearsome wolf appeared in her mind. Frost wolves, unlike ordinary wolves, leave behind magic stones when they die. After they leave the stones, their bodies become like any other wolf. They are among the rarest magical beasts. But to ask me to talk to them, Ruby felt confused. Ian explained further. These wolves rarely leave the forest. They're intelligent and don't attack humans first, but now they've suddenly appeared near people's homes. Fortunately, there haven't been any casualties, but they're very aggressive now. We don't know when they might suddenly attack. This is just a legend, Ian continued, but it's said that if you kill a frost wolf before the Heian event, there will be revenge from the wolves, or the killer will be driven to madness and fear. Ian got to the main point. This year is the year of Heian, so there will be a sword-fighting event. In this situation, it's best to resolve things peacefully with the wolves, rather than create a massacre. I thought that if we asked you, we might get more clues. Ruby felt the weight of the responsibility, but at the same time she couldn't accept such a great task. I can't talk to them. It's just that animals seem to understand what I'm saying, she explained, recalling Isaac's words. Anyway, you should limit contact with magical beasts for a while. She remembered how Isaac had advised her that day. What exactly do they want from you? I can't even grasp it. Ruby smiled ruefully. I'm not sure I can understand what the wolves are saying either. Ian laughed awkwardly. We were also considering that, but Ivan still has faith in your abilities. Madam, your abilities are very special, so I thought you might be able to talk to these frost wolves. Ruby then asked, Oh, is my husband coming too? Ivan scratched his head, unsure how to answer. The blue-haired knight casually replied, No, he would eliminate us if he knew we were coming to Madam for just this. Hearing this, Ruby felt a chill run down her spine. Ivan shouted, Hey, you idiot, what are you saying? Ruby shrugged. What? I'm not wrong. She placed the teacup down on the table with a soft clink. If you don't want to, feel free to refuse. Actually, we didn't expect too much, she added, staring intently at Ruby. If you say you don't want to, what can we do? Ruby looked up at the blue-haired man, her thoughts unclear. Ivan quickly turned and slapped him across the face. He then coughed and apologized to Ruby. This useless fellow, Madam, I apologize on his behalf. Ivan hadn't finished his sentence when Ruby interrupted. I'll do it. Ivan and Camus stared at each other in surprise. I'll try, Ruby said, a glimmer of hope in her mind. She apologized profusely to Isaac, whatever their reason. They're still keeping secrets from me, she thought, feeling more determined. Just consider it doing something good. Besides, if I can help them, it'll also help me gain their favor. She remembered the image of the arrogant blue-haired man from earlier. I really want to shut him up. It's infuriating. Also, if information about magical beasts spreads, wouldn't it be easier to meet more friends? Ivan interrupted Ruby's thoughts. Here, have some chocolate. He pushed a bag full of candy toward her. Ruby immediately froze. Do you think I'm a child? She asked, surprised. Inside the forest, thick snow covered everything, making the atmosphere even gloomier. Ruby wore a thick cloak and looked outside. Ivan walked beside her, pointing respectfully. Madam, it's that way. I don't know when they'll jump out, so I've blocked this path. Ruby could clearly hear the terrifying growls of wolves. She looked around and felt a little panicked, but suggested to Ivan, I'll go a little closer. The three of them dismounted and slowly walked forward step by step. The wind whipped past as they protected Ruby as much as possible. A magical beast suddenly stepped out directly in front of them. It growled menacingly. Ivan cautiously held his sword toward it, and the fierce wolf glared at the group. its sharp teeth bared as if it wanted to devour them alive. "The leader is directly confronting us," Ivan said, stepping forward. Ruby felt it unnecessary. "It's all right, let me go alone for now," she said. "Madam?" But she still slowly approached the frost wolf. Seeing her approach, the frost wolf remained fearsome, but hesitated, its growl softening. Ruby took off her hood and smiled, saying her first words. "Hello?" The wolf's eyes suddenly became tearful. Ruby sat down in front of it, and the wolf lowered its guard, kneeling down. Ruby observed the wolf and thought, "It's less wary now, but it seems like it wants to tell me something. I can sense the deep sadness and resentment within it," Ruby murmured. "Madame, now's the time." The blue-haired man started to move forward, but Ruby quickly stopped him. "Wait a minute," Ruby said. She grabbed the blue-haired man's cloak and pointed. "Here," she said. "There's a leg." The three men looked at her in confusion before following her gaze. Before them lay the severed leg of a frost wolf, twisted at an unnatural angle. "What is that?" Ian seemed to recognize it. "Their leg? Is it broken?" Andy's brother frowned. "Why haven't we seen any walking on one leg?" Behind them, a whole pack of frost wolves was waiting. Ruby realized something. The lead wolf kept circling the severed leg, its behavior uneasy. Ruby's mood sank. "I think," she began, "this child seems very sad right now. It's hard to understand exactly how this child feels." Ruby's voice softened as she looked at the wolf. "It's grieving because it can't find the owner of this leg," the blue-haired man asked in confusion. "You mean they're looking for the owner of this leg?" Ruby stood up and nodded. "It seems to be nearby. We should find the owner of this leg first." He worried, if the owner of this leg is dead, they might be enraged and attack. He bent down to observe the leg more carefully. Looking at this severed leg, it seems like someone intentionally cut it off. If so, it's definitely the work of poachers. Ivan drew his sword, enraged. "Arrest everyone around here. These poachers need to be dealt with." Andy's brother was also fired up. A sudden downpour began, and they took shelter in a nearby shed. Ivan and Gaius searched the surrounding area to catch the culprits. Ivan glanced back and ordered, "Cam, protect Madam." Ruby leaned against her hand, looking outside. Her thoughts were still occupied with the frost wolf. Will that child be all right? What if the owner of that leg is dead? "It's cold. Please take this blanket, Madam," Cam said, offering her a blanket. Ruby looked up, startled. "Oh, thank you."